Good morning, and it's a warm welcome to Aurora Sports Club, where it's the women's T20 final. The final game to the women's domestic season. What a cracker it's bound to be. Just to kickstart us off, we can look at the weather. It's looking fantastic out there. Joining me in the commentary box at this moment in time, as we get ready, as we watch the umpires and the two batters from Mountaineers walking onto the crease, is Larry Kariri. Larry, you were there at the toss.
Yeah, it's interesting how you call me Kwirirai. Stanley, how are you?
I have a friend who I went to high school with. His name is Larry Kariri. Every time I think of him, I always mix up the two names. But my apologies there, Larry Kariri.
Not a problem. Big match today, especially given the results yesterday when Mountaineers were bowled out for 14 against the same team, Alliance Health Eagles. That is the Women's T20 Cup, a culmination of 2 rounds of matches that have taken place. And these are the 2 top teams that will be boxing out today. And coming out to start off are Chipo Mugeri, who missed yesterday's match, but she's been an important cog since the beginning of the season, along with Laureen Perry. They'll be the ones opening for Mountaineers. But some of the players that I think, a name that that pops up there, Nyasha Gwanzura. She's took 2 player of the matches gongs in the last couple of in two matches in a row, and then on the Alliance Eagles side, Michelle Mavunga, she took 3 player of the matches gongs 3 out of 4 matches, or 3 out of 5 matches really, which that she took part in. So she's got some match winners there, don't we?
Oh, brilliant day it is, Larry, and like we said, we're looking forward to a fantastic T20 final. And yes, you did mention the game that was played yesterday. Some serious bounce back ability is expected from Mountaineers. I don't expect them to be bowled out for 14 today, that's for sure. It's the final. Perhaps they were saving energy for today's final, Larry.
Well, I had a chat with the both captains before, and opening the bowling, of course, is the aforementioned Michelle Mafunga. That's Eagles, by the way. Eagles are about bowling first, but I had the chat with them, and they seem to say, okay, we're not bothered about the loss yesterday, whereas Eagles captain Modesta Mpachiko has said, look, this is momentum we'll carry, because they actually needed to win a match in order to get to the final.
First ball from the golf course here from Michelle Mavunga. And right away, she's on the mark. It just beats the outside edge of Chipo Mugeri. Fantastic start from Michelle. She's been a revelation in this series so far.
She is pretty incredible. What she does have is a consistent line and length. She's a very disciplined line and length. And if you bowl straight, a lot of the times you'll get something.
Now, early on, you were talking about how both teams would have wanted to bowl first. And it's all about the moisture within the wicket in this first.
Ooh.
Brilliant delivery. 2 in a row. That's a good start so far from Michelle, getting the ball to move, or rather angle across Chipo. One slip in place, more like a second slip by the Eagles captain. Just wideish off the keeper. A pretty conventional field set, just having the third man in the far leg, being the 2 outside the boundary at this moment in time. Third delivery, and it's another dot ball. So talking about winning the toss and wanting to bowl first, Larry, both teams, like you said, would have wanted to bowl first, and everybody keeps talking about the first hour. Now, the mantra or the philosophy of every other team that gets an opportunity to play at Aurora Sports Club, they always talk about trying to utilize that first hour. What is it about the first hour, Larry?
Well, it does. The ball does a little bit for the Pacers. It certainly carries a lot better as we get the first runs of this T20 Cup final.
Michelle Mavunga just straying in line there, just going a bit too straight. Not too much damage though. Chipo Mugeri just steering that one, more so flicking it just to the fielder at fine leg.
So she's just a widely old customer. That is Chipo Mugeri too. She gets those. She gets runs off that any day of the week. You wake up in the middle of the night and she'll get runs off that, won't she?
Well, it's easy pickings, isn't it? It's not threatening the stumps. So as long as it's not threatening the stumps, the ball's not threatening the stumps, it's always going to be a free hit. Well, back to her mark is Michelle Mavunga, bowling to Lorraine Peary. So, just for the information, Chipo Mugiri, right, standard operator for the national team as well. So is Lorraine Peary, more for off spin. So two national team players in for Mountaineers. Can they take the responsibility on their shoulders for Mountaineers today?
Well, that's an excellent first over from Michelle Mavunga, and Mountaineers women are without loss after 1 over.
The senior player and senior bowler in the Eagles lineup. What a fantastic spell she had yesterday. 7 wickets for just 1 run. Unbelievable, Larry.
And the 1 run being a wide. That's just incredible bowling. Let's see what she does today.
Well, Chipo Mugiri knows this so well. These are 2 national team players. They bowl at each other at the nets so often. And Chipo Mugiri immediately from the first ball taking a single. So the wicket is not as quick. Obviously, it's still a bit tacky, a bit of moisture. It's been under the covers. And yes, we had a bit of rain overnight. So obviously, there's a bit of a slow nature. And looks like it wasn't a bad call for the Eagles to win the toss and want to bowl first.
Especially we had a bit of rain in these parts yesterday, so see what happens here.
Good delivery, keeping it simple is Estambofana.
Given that Chipo is more of the aggressor, I think Eagles won't mind this, because as long as she's off strike, she's not doing any damage. Lauren isn't really going to go and hit boundaries very often.
Well, it has to be a simple game plan, isn't it, for the Eagles? Try and starve Chipo Mugiri of much strike as much as possible. Estambofana reverting to a heavy back of a length and bowling it straight to Lorraine Peary. And all she can do right there is a simple back foot defense. So just 1 run off the 3 balls so far. Eagles just 2 runs in the past 9 balls. They need to get on with it, but obviously perhaps they're looking to take it easy and just see off first couple of overs in the power play.
Ooh.
Fantastic delivery, shaping away. Is it a leave? Is it a beaten? I think it's a beaten there.
More of a beaten. There was intention there. But it's sort of that in the corridor where you don't know whether to hit, whether to leave it or not. If she gets a couple of those in that channel, she might get some she might get some luck.
Definitely, I think the Mashan, the Eagles women, taking good advice from their bowling coach, Trevor Garwe. He himself, Trevor, has played plenty of first class on the Harare Sports Club wicket, so I'm sure the general discussion with regards to for T20 in the first power play is concerned is to hit that back of a length heavy, bowl into the wicket and let the wicket do the rest for you. So 5 balls into the over, and just that's the last delivery. Lorraine Peary is still to get off the mark. Brilliant finish. Beaten once again.
Absolutely brilliant bowling right there. So after 2 overs,
from the golf course end. And earlier on, we were talking about what a style performance she's had. Cut!
And there you go.
That's the Chipo Mugera we know. Just giving herself room. It wasn't really a bad delivery, but the experience of Chipo Mugera, just giving herself room, just shimming to the league side and opening up that boundary to the offside. Brilliant cut shot for 4 runs. First boundary of the day, Larry.
That was just the classic Chipo getting to the panel. She waited for that. She said, "I've had enough of this. Time to get some run. Time to get going."
Well, she knows that Michelle Mavunga has been sublime in this tournament. 15 wickets to her name. She's not going to let her settle. She's seen enough, like you said.
Great comeback ball there from Mavunga. And just to tell you about the Zimbabwe Cricket app, you can get it from the iStore as well as Google Play. It's available, and you can get all the stats in as far as the games that are concerned. And I can read off the stats right now. Michelle Mavunga with 15 wickets, and just behind her is Esther Mbofana with 11. And also in the final still is Precious Marange, who's got 6 wickets, and she's placed in 4th position.
Gero Phil, she's missed out there. That was just a full toss, and she's bantered it straight to the fielder and the covers. And talking about those performances, you mentioned how Michelle Marange and Esther Mbofana are the 2 top wicket takers, which tells you a lot about why the Alliance Eagles are in the final today. They've won 2, they've lost 2 so far. So into the final, and Michelle Mavunga continues.
Another beauty there. Question becomes, do you get tempted a little bit to put an extra slip there, given how much the bat has been beaten in the first 2.4 overs?
That is a perfect suggestion there, Larry. I would not mind at all. Perhaps take away somebody from the covers and put them into that first slip, or maybe move Precious Marange to a more regular first slip position and get a second slip in. But it all comes down to what the bowler wants. She's comfortable bowling with the first slip so far. Chipo Mugera, just a straight drive, foolish delivery from Michelle Mavunga. But all the same, obviously the Alliance Health Women's captain, thinking more about the defensive strategy of trying to stop runs. She probably doesn't think there'll be too many edges, but there's some movement there off the wicket, and the bat has hit quite a number of times. Lorraine Peary continues with a defensive effort. After 3 overs, the Mountaineers women are 7 for no loss.
women are bowling at the moment against Mountaineers women?
It's aerial.
Dropped
at point. Certainly is a chance. And I know the bowler Esther Mbofana will be disappointed, more so because it's a Precious Marange, one of the better fielders in the team. And she's in that position at point for those kind of catches. But this one goes down. And unfortunately, Lauren P., fortunately for her, she lives to live on another day.
And I know how seriously Precious Marange takes her field, and she'll be very disappointed in that.
Last ball of the over from Esther. What does it yield? Full delivery. And Chipa Mugeri obliges. I tell you what, that ball was given a lot of air, but it has been met with a bat that is loaded with Red Bull, and that ball has been given wings. And it's the first of the day, Larry.
Absolutely, and after 4 overs, Mountaineers women are 15 without loss.
Precious Marange into the attack. Right, she comes in off the same end that Michelle Mavunga is bowling from. Right arm off spin. First time we're seeing a spinner into the attack today. Precious Marange. Not a big turn of the ball, however, it's her accuracy that really does the job. And they can turning to spin. Just to try and see if they can get some wickets here. One thing is certain, the monkeys off the Mountaineers women's back. Yesterday they were bowled out for 14, today they're on 15 for no loss. So another day of fantastic cricket I'm looking forward to, Larry.
Absolutely.
Not the best of starts for Precious. Till fall to Lawrence, and she obliges. Just a simple flick and a square leg boundary. Brilliant 4 runs from Lorraine, taking advantage of the loose delivery from Precious Marange. Lucina it was, and she's paid for it, Larry.
So I know we're at the moment at the crease and bowling. We're seeing the national team players playing, but one thing that I've seen very encouraging throughout this tournament has been how improvement there is being in skill when it comes to the younger players that have come in, and I suppose just getting a lot more cricket being played, the skills just have improved. The better shot making, less extras being conceded in many cases, and it's a good thing to see.
Well, definitely, Larry, I definitely agree with you, but I like to believe it is also due to the fact that when you have an elongated tournament, to see the confidence rise, you know, players coming out of their shells, which is exactly what we ended up seeing at the end, towards the end of the tournament, rather. Precious Marange, Lorraine taking on the arm of Esther Mbofana, being guilty there. A bit more ball watching from the fielder in the 30-yard circle. Esther Mbofana is a better fielder than that, and more so being a seamer herself. Being a bowler, she knows the importance of saving runs. Definitely wasn't one there, but credit to the alertness of Lauren Peary realizing how Esther Mbofana was ball watching. She snuck in a single to bring the main batter on strike. And this will be interesting because immediately Precious Marange changes her bowling from over the wicket to round the wicket, generally, which is the mode of attack hand batters nowadays. That should be a wide, but fortunately it looks like it might have just brushed the pad, so Precious Marange gets away with that one, but Chipo Mugere will certainly be aware of the fact that she's missed out there. There's no 45, and that just a little bit of bat on that delivery would have been a boundary. However, it's the last ball of the over. Precious. Little shimmy down the wicket, but the on drive finds the fielder at mid-on. It's the end of the 5th over. The Mountaineers women 20 for none. Right arm seamer into the attack. Once again, it is the last over of the power play. There's still no slip in place. The captain going more defensive rather than attacking. Foolish delivery. Just more of a leg glance to the fielder at mid-wicket.
Short little run up there, gentle medium paces. But what I think she doesn't make up, what she doesn't have in pace, she makes up for accuracy, it seems. Nice little variation there.
Well, she started off well, doesn't it? Just 3 delivers so far for no run. Leanne Masora, she'll look to continue. She knows it's the lesser batter on strike in terms of strike rate. So, good opportunity for her to get in what could be a good maiden here. But unfortunately, she's struck. And it'll be a simple 2 runs for the busy Lorraine Piri. And true to form, like you said, Larry, it's always important when you don't have that much pace. It's always important that you have the accuracy. And if you look now, it's a strong offside field. She's got plenty of fielders in that ring on the offside. So perhaps that's the line she should be bowling, just a touch out. Just a normal straight drive from Lorraine. I think Lorraine will know she's missed out there. That was a genuine half volley. And she's just hit it straight back, and it's cannoned into the stumps. Bit of work for the umpire to do. Not too much damage in this power play. So far, this is the last over. There's just 22 runs coming off it. But importantly, though, for the Mountaineers women, there is no wicket registered in them. That's the line, and that's the length she should be bowling. That is a whole lot better from Leanne Masora. And it's the end of the 6th over, being the last over of the power play. And it's a 22 for none. Fireworks to talk about, just the 2 boundaries in the power play. Sorry, unfortunately, my bad. It's actually 3 boundaries, Larry, that have just come out in this power play so far. So 22 runs for no loss, like I said earlier. Importantly, no wicket lost for Mountaineers. Your thoughts, Larry?
There's a column that I've been looking at, and it's down to the accuracy of the bowlers so far. In the first 6 overs, there have been 0 extras conceded. So lots of discipline in there. It shows how this Eagles side has made it thus far. Very accurate with the bowling, very disciplined with the fielding, and it's no wonder that they decided to bowl first, because that's obviously where their strength lies.
And now that the power play is done, you can afford to have the extra fielders outside the ring, and so far Precious Marange opting for 3 on the leg side. A long on, cow corner, and a deep square leg. And obviously that means it tells you what sort of line she will be looking to the ball. Straight and attacking the stumps. She has a mid-wicket in play. There's plenty of cover on the leg side region. Now that is what you don't want. Precious Marange guilty of straying on the offside, giving Lorraine Piri room, and it's just a nice steer from Lorraine. Good awareness from Lorraine Piri, realizing there's a gap there, there's no slip in place, and that ball rolls down to the boundary.
That there's a beautiful shot. You always love to see those.
Brilliant, isn't it, from Lorraine? Using the pace off the ball instead of trying to muscle it. There are 4 fielders in that offside. Once again, she's trying the same shot, but this time she's missed it. It's a quicker one from Precious Marange. But once again, Precious Marange does not want to be bowling that line. She knows where her boundary riders are out there on the leg side. She needs to be bowling a touch straighter. A quick single. This could be tight, but unfortunately,
a misfield there.
A chance. Don't you think, Larry? I mean,
it would have been tight. It would have been tight, but there was a chance.
The field at mid-wicket not gathering cleanly, and that allows Lorraine Piri to make it to the striker's end comfortably. Last ball of the over to Chipo Mugeri from Precious. It's a quicker one.
And that's the first extra of the match.
But such is the problem, isn't it? When you know the batter's weakness is on the leg side, you tend to overcompensate. You want to bowl too straight, and it ends up just drifting outside leg. Sometimes you need to keep it simple. But in order to keep it simple, when you bowl to a batter like that, you have to be spot on. A little shimmy, fantastic lofted drive for 4 runs off the last ball of the over. 33 for 9. To Lorraine Piri once again. First ball is brilliant. I think she saw Lorraine Piri trying to come down the wicket, and she's decided to follow her. And it's just a defensive stroke from Lorraine Piri, who at the moment is just 14 runs after 25 balls at strike rate of 56. Chipo Mugeri now looking to get things going. 18 off 18 balls at strike rate of 100. Another extra. Suppose Leanne sort of looking at how Lorraine Piri is moving about the wicket, and this time overcompensating and bowling that one too wide on the offside. She has to bowl that one again, unfortunately.
More of an attacking field, as you see when Lorraine Piri is batting.
Good comeback from Leanne. Straight, a good length. And she knows that Lorraine Piri is not the big hitter. She can afford to bowl it a touch fuller, keeping your mid on, mid off up. And like you mentioned, Larry, there's no need to have boundary riders spread out for Lorraine. But this time she obviously gets that single to bring on Chipo Mugeri. The awareness to make sure that she's not holding strike for too long, and that happens in the third delivery.
And just on the money, the boundary riders are out as soon as Chipo Mugeri Tidipano is out. But of course, you're going to need some disciplined bowling because she's pretty good at placement, isn't she?
Oh yeah, definitely. And now you know why She's popularly known in the cricket circles as Shikadawan, her nickname. And true to that, as soon as she came on strike, the boundary riders have been immediately dispatched. The Alliance Health Eagles women have been good so far, just 36 runs in 7.5. Leanne Musora just delivered what is the second extra in this over. She'll have to bowl that again, unfortunately, to a stronger Chipo Mugeri. But fortunately for her, it's just a loft shot to the fielder at a long on a 4-1.
So, what is your thinking here as the batting side? Do you start going for it probably around the 12th over after seeing out some of the best of the bowling so far, seeing off the first hour, or do you try to have a go right now?
Well, it's a balancing act, isn't it? I mean, you have probably one of your better batters in the middle right now, and you would like her to bat as deep as possible. That's the most important thing, have wickets in hand. But it also comes from knowing what you have left in the dugout. So importantly, one would say, no, they have been too slow. And that was the last delivery of the 8th over. Is the commentator who goes by the nickname Naza. Darlington Matamanaza. Darlington, good morning.
Morning, Stanley. How are you doing?
I'm all right. Darlington, a wicket you're not too well yourself, Harrow Sports Club. You've played plenty of not just class but bayside cricket here.
Yeah, that's right. And yeah, I just, it's not as bad, I think, this morning, clearly, as people expected. There wasn't that huge advantage to the bowling side this morning. And I think Mountaineers here could actually really set themselves up and do something really interesting here. You know, it's just, it's good enough to batten, I think, this morning. A little bit slow, but there's no sideways movement, I think, this morning.
Big sideways movement, as you've mentioned, and right now there's a spinner in operation, not much turn as well. We know Precious Marangu more than slides the ball, but no turn. And the easy does it. We talked about Precious Marangu not turning the ball. Chipo Mugeri looking to go to shimmy down the wicket and loft that one, but Precious Marangu gets the best of her. A brilliant stumping from Modesta Mpachikwa behind the stumps. The first wicket for the Mountaineers, and it's the big hitter, Chipo Mugeri, Shikadawan, who has to go. And I know for a fact that Chipo Mugeri will be disappointed. She's just been dismissed. 19 runs she scored off 20 balls. And it's the Mountaineers women 38-4-1.
New batter in is Nyasha Banzura. Also has had a very good tournament so far, hasn't she, Stanley?
Brilliant player, busy player, and I think that is her main characteristic. And she's done that so well, and I think she's actually key coming into this middle period for the. It would have been good to see her bat with Chipo Mugeri, combining the touch and the power game, but unfortunately it's not to be so. Nyasha comes in at a time where the field is spread, but irrespective of that, she still has a touch and power game, and she is a joy to watch when she gets going.
104 runs so far in this tournament. At the really healthy average of 50.
Well, I had a conversation with her yesterday during lunch at All the Road Sports Club where they just played. And I'll tell you what, she was not phased at all that they had just lost a T20 match and that they had been bowled out for 14. She was joyful and looking forward to this final. And she said, "Don't worry, coach, I am saving energy for this final." So she has a full tank, Darlington. Let's see what she brings to the square today.
And it's just about how many runs that Mountaineers women can put on the board here as they bat first today. Just try and create a little bit of pressure on the Eagles women.
There we go. Talking about how she likes to be busy at the wicket. Straight away wanting a single, even though the ball has gone straight to the fielder's hand. And then the last thing, using another wicket here, especially off a run out. Needless run out. And yes, Darlington, definitely agree with you here. And Lorraine Peary getting on with it. Precious Marangi straying in line, giving Lorraine Peary room, and once again using the pace of the bowler Lorraine does just to steer that one for a much needed boundary. It's the end of the 9th over. The Mountaineers women are 43 for the loss of 1. Masora, that's the 10th over. And the end of this will be the drinks break nowadays. The drinks break being introduced after the 10th over now. And importantly, a coach, Darlington, can walk onto the field.
I think what sort of tactics would you, I think, at this moment be if you were, like if it was the Eagles to begin with?
Well, walking in as Trevor Garwick, who is the Alliance Eagles bowling coach, the advice would have been obviously just to keep it as tight. I mean, they have been doing a good job so far. I mean, the run rate and the score has not really bolted away from them, but perhaps just be wary of that odd boundary every now and then. I think a cause for concern in Darlington would obviously be for the Mountaineers women coach. Yes, they've only just 1 wicket, but perhaps they would like to get on with a bit more. And good for them is the batter who has just come in terms of Nyasha Kwanzura.
She's been in really good form, she has. And I think the thing is, I think the wicket is just on the slow side. It's not really great for shot making. So you have to be quite patient and run really, really well.
Strong shot from Nyasha as well. Looks to use the straight bat more often than not. Looks to capitalize on any loose deliveries. True, Darlington. Not too many shots have been played off the wicket. The batters just realizing the ball is not coming up to the bat as much as they would want. It's more of grit and grind here. Another single. Perhaps the fielder at long on and mid off. Sorry, my apologies. The fielder at just being a bit too deep. And sensing the ability of Nyasha Kwanzura, the boundary riders once again are immediately dispatched. Better to give her the single as opposed to give her the boundary. Driving on the up. Oh my God, a mix-up, and would you believe it? Would you believe it? Fantastic fielding at the point. People that has to go is the busy Nyasha Kwanzura. We've been talking about her ability and how I would have wanted to see her bat long, but unfortunately, a mix-up in the middle. And Nyasha has to go. Run out for 3. 47 for 2. And the drinks break is immediately taken. and she responded very well. Earlier she had a fumble, but this time obliged with the run out of Chipo. Into the middle is Pelagia Mujaji, seasoned campaigner, both at domestic and international level. It's the end of the 10th over. The Mountaineers women are 47-42.
Right arm off spin.
The Lions Eagles captain sticking to spin this side. Good start. That's just the one. Lorraine Peary looking to be busy trying to still in a second, but a good throw from the deep. Now talking about the nature of the wicket on the slow side, not a bad ploy, Darlington, to operate with spin from one side.
I think this is, she's got very, very good bowling changes, in my opinion, as Precious Marange. We saw just the two for the openers. And she's bowled two for herself. And yeah, she's just had really, really good bowling changes.
Good sweep shot for one from Pelagia. There's been a misfield with a take for two. Good sense of awareness there from Lorraine, being obviously one of the stalwarts in this. She's been in there for 34 balls, so she knows what's happening and she knows the need for more runs. And it might not be through boundaries, but it has to be through good strike rotation. And we've now passed the halfway mark. The Lions Eagles have done a good job here in restricting the Mountaineers women to just 50 for 2. Another sweep shot, and since this could be a leg by, signal from the umpire, Olinda Chara just straying down leg to Pelagia, and you can sense that Modesta Mpachikwa, who plays a lot of cricket with Pelagia, knowing it's better to ball spin to Pelagia as opposed to seam, taking pace off it. Outside edge. Bits the fielder at short third man, and once again Lorraine Peary gets a boundary in that region, her third of the day in that region. So once again the spinners giving room to Lorraine, although it was a thick outside edge, but she's liking that region. It's her fourth boundary, and 3 have come out of that region. Darlington, she's liking it there.
She's so important to whatever score that Mountaineers get here today. She's really got to bat through to the end of this match. If Mountaineers to post a competitive score, we some doubts about their batting after number sort of 5 and 6. So it's very, very important that there's a big partnership between these two batters here. Try and get that score, okay, so I think at around 120. Maybe 130 will be very, very competitive on this wicket today.
Just the last ball of the over, and Lorraine Peary feels she's missed out. Back of length delivery, and she squared down to the leg side. After the 11th over, the Mountaineers women are 56 for 2. Leah and Masora into a 4th over, and Modesta Mpachikwa looking to ball her through. She hasn't bowled badly. Good fielding. Brilliant. Full toss, just flicked to square leg. I'll tell you what, had the fielder done any more differently, that would have been 4 runs because it had a bit of pace. But some good hands and good fielding have certainly saved Leanne Masora a boundary there.
And this has been a good ploy, bowling her through her form. Today, I think she's been very, very disciplined. Has bowled well, kept up to the batter, and bowled really, really straight.
Third delivery, just 3 more to finish the over, and just 3 more deliveries to fill what would be a fantastic spell. Just 11 runs off 3 overs so far, and I'm sure the captain, Modesta Pachko, will certainly be happy. But Pelagia, I spoke about how she likes seam, getting a fullish delivery, but unfortunately it doesn't have the legs to clear that extra cover boundary, and she will settle for 2 overthrows. No, it won't be an extra.
Again, we see that lack of pace. Very, very difficult to time it and hit it well down the ground. Just got the 2 there where you'd normally expect it to get 4 for that stoppers.
I've been talking about how she's been fantastic, but unfortunately here she'll have to bowl that one again. Trying to stay away from the bat of Pelagia is Leanne, and unfortunately it's a wide.
She's just got to be nice and straight. She got hit over the top. She just gave Pelagia a little bit of room outside off stump. But you see there, and there's an appeal. That's around about the right area. Force her to hit too long on and straightish mid wicket.
Last ball of a spell. A punch into the covers. Another mix-up, but unfortunately the ball goes fielder throws to the wrong end. And I'll tell you what, had that been a run-out, that would have been a brilliant entry or spell is Leanne Masora, but unfortunately Lauren Perry survives. It's the end of the 12th over. Mountaineers women are 60 for 2. Now, Darlington, we've just been discussing what would be a good score. Yes, it's 2 wickets down, but 60 on the scoreboard with 8 overs remaining. And obviously at some point, around about the 15th over mark, that we're looking to get on with to try and get 10s if possible, or 8s. And we came to a conclusion about 130.
130 is going to be a good work though, because it's a 70 more from here, which is around 8.5 and over. So somebody is going to have to play really, really well. You need something really special. Likely, probably from Pelagia Mjaji, who's a slightly better striker of the ball than Lauren Piri.
I'll tell you what, this over is bolting. It's the 5th delivery already. So, Olinda Chare on with things, saying the fact that raising the tempo is not a bad idea. And before you know it, the over is gone. And we're already into the last delivery, Darlington. Well bowled.
That's a really good delivery to finish the 13th over. Mountaineers women are 61 for 2.
And I'll tell you what, we've just had another quick discussion to revise our target here. And with the last 7 overs at around 8 to the over, will give the Mountaineers women another 56 runs. And that'll probably take their total to be at 117, 120 mark. And I'm sure that'll be more realistic, Darlington.
I think definitely. I think anything over 100 will be competitive. But it's just that I think to get 8 or so and over, you need to have one boundary every over. And Eagles have generally bowled very, very well today. There's been very loose, very little short or very little wide.
I'll tell you what, the bowling coach, Trevor Garo, will certainly be happy with his charges. They've stood firm, they've stuck to their game plan, they've kept it simple. One would have thought earlier on, perhaps a slip or two would have been a good ploy in the power play, but not much went through there. Plenty playing misses, but not too many side edges. More of a defensive full set has worked for the Lions Eagles. Strong shot, but Lauren Peary still failing to beat the fielder at mid-wicket. And important, like you said, Donington, it's important to be able to get a boundary and perhaps more strike rotation to try and get that run rate to 7, 8 to the over. But at the moment, the bowlers of the Mountaineers Eagles have been fantastic. Just the one strong throw, but Lauren Peary just gets that one off the over so far.
Like, this is a really, really good bowling change. And we've seen Kelis Ndlovu has bowled straight and roundabout leg stump, left arm over. And she's been very difficult to get away.
Key has been her pace, isn't it? She's not bowling it too slow. They're going to fire it down to the wicket. And she concedes a single of the last ball. So after 14 overs, 65 for 2. Olinda Chare, continuing from the golf course end. Olinda Chare guilty, but is it a direct hit? Unfortunately, no. That was definitely out, Darlington.
It would have been, definitely would have been out. It should have been thrown either into Olinda Chare's hands for it hit the stumps. Jaji was a long way away.
Now, we always talk about earthquakes. Now, earthquakes can be caused by runouts, and a needless runout this would have been. Pelagia would have been walking straight back to the dugout had this happened. And I'll tell you what, that would have put salt into injury had Pelagia been run out. She's probably the last big hitter in the Mountaineers women batting lineup.
And a misfield there. It's interesting because even in junior cricket, we were told not to run on misfields because always the misfields seem to be in the fielder's advantage. They're the first ones to notice that they've misfielded, and they have an extra split second to react than the batters do. And we just saw right there a little misfield.
The sense for the need to be scoring for Mountaineers. They know the all in play now, and how this run rate has somewhat come down, and it's credit to the two spinners, Olinda Chare and Kelis Ndlovu, who I think have bowled the perfect pace on this wicket. Not looking to flight it too much because it's easy to hit. Looking to bowl it into the wicket, but this time dragging it short. But she has the perfect field, so she gets away with it with just the single.
Something you see a lot with leg spinners, isn't it? Usually there's always that one. So it's very, very important that she set her field really, really well. Has protection on the boundary. And then that was a magic delivery. Slightly more flighted. Gets through Lauren Peary's defenses. Just the bye.
Lauren Peary, fortunately and importantly, she needs to keep the scoreboard ticking. Another short ball, swept by Pelagia, but once again finds the fielder in the deep cow corner, and it just goes for one. So a single off the last ball of the 15th over. Mountaineers women are 70 for 2. Slog sweep, not much contact, just passes the 30-yard circle by a few meters, and Pelagia sensing the need to get more bat on ball and try and get on with it. There's only 5 more overs left in this inning so far, but the spin bowlers have been brilliant. The all-important dot ball. And I'm sure, being in the team meeting for the Alliance Eagles, there's always this talk of how you need to bowl more dot balls than the opposition. And the spinners of the Alliance Health Eagles women are doing a brilliant job so far. Kelly Slovo, just in 1.5 overs, she has just given a very few runs.
And that's a beautiful delivery from Kelly Slovo. She's found the outside edge. Slower flighted spinner. She missed the outside edge, signaled by the umpire, but that was a beautiful delivery. She's mixed up her pace well today. That's Kelly Slovo.
Well, she's been fantastic. Darlington, I definitely agree with you there. Nearing the end of her second over, and she's away 6 runs at a run rate of just under 3.3. She's been brilliant, I'll tell you that. And she has ably supported Olinda Chari, who has gone for 14 runs off her 3 overs. Yeah. But once again, we talked about how this team has been good on the extras. She'll have to bowl that one again. And a pity it had to be a wide with the last delivery. She has to bowl that one again. Opening and cutting overs, Darlington. Gets away with another wide one. But the end of the 16th over, 75 for 2.
A little bit of a break. Joining me is Larry Quillirai. Just wondering, is that just Larry or Lawrence?
Larry. I don't see Stanley as a tea guy, more of a coffee guy.
Actually, you're right. You're absolutely right.
What do you think I was going to say?
No, because it's something that I noticed, because it's some, because we have, I'm always called, my name's Darlington, but most people call me Dali, at home, and guys I grew up with. Cricket guys call me Naza. And it's always interesting to know what people's names really are, because I know a lot of guys I've played cricket with that I don't know for years, and you find out because you know their nicknames,
Yeah.
or shortened versions of their names.
So Olinda Chari bowling her final over. She's been a revelation, and although that has gone for a 4, Lauren Peary has just quietly gone about her business. Well, not so quietly in the last couple of overs.
Yeah, I think she's paced this right. She knows that there's just 4 overs, there's just 3 overs left in this game. And she's very, very aware of the fact that probably a score around 100 is going to be very, very important to get. And she she's really started to look to accelerate her game.
So once again, another straight shot there that doesn't get past the wicket. The second one of the match that Lorraine Perez straight, but which often if you beat the stumps, that's a given four for you.
Usually it's always 4 runs, but she's hit the stumps twice today, which
Twice
is quite
today.
bizarre. quite bizarre.
I couldn't hit the stumps twice in a whole T20 if I tried.
Yeah.
And I was just saying, Olinda Chare is part of these young 13, 14-year-olds that have come in and played some cricket in this particular tournament. And that should all go well for the under-19 team. Zimbabwe, as you know, qualified directly for the under-19 World Cup, Women's Under-19 World Cup next year. So getting some of these youngsters playing cricket at this level against international players is a good look for them, isn't it?
Oh, admittedly, that looks like a half chance. It's not carried into the mid-wicket area. She's bowled very, very well. That's the end of the 17th and of Olinda Chare's 4th. Mountaineers women 83 for 2.
Kelly's Ndlovu. It doesn't quite go all the way. Captain Pelagia Majaji trying to get in on the action as well. She knows in the last 3 overs right now they really have to go to have a go, because like you said, get over 100, 110, 115 is a bit of a push, but 110 will ask in this surface.
No, definitely, most definitely, and you know what it is. It's always pressure in a final. I think I always, in a final, under that sort of the final pressure of playing in a final, I generally prefer to have some runs on the board going into the second innings of the game. And I think it could be an advantage to just get whatever you get, and also you've got a lot of information when you come into bowl second, because you've seen your opposition have shown you what works on this wicket. But it actually could be a very, very useful thing. Half decent score to defend.
But as I say, you already know how good or bad a surface is, and when both teams have batted on, isn't it?
That's right, yes.
A couple of supporters coming in now, so just remember that if you're in Harare, the match is at Harare Sports Club, the final of the Women's T20 Cup. Admission is free, just make sure you get your vaccination card on you and come and enjoy a game of cricket here. And of course, it's Mountaineers women against Alliance Health women, and in the men's competition, it's the there you go. Lorraine Piri getting a bit adventurous there. Another stump, the second stumping of the match. Kelly Ndlovu, right at the end of that of her third over, gets the wicket off Lorraine Perry for 41. She has to go. A delivery that went a little bit wide. I think Kelly Ndlovu saw her coming down just a bit, and she has to go as she began to accelerate the team score. So at the end of the 18th over, the score is 88 for 3. Getting hit there for 4 of the first delivery from Pelagia Majaji. Pelagia Majaji usually starts slow, but once she gets going, she finds the boundaries and did it quite easily there, finding placement between the fielders. And another beautiful shot. Won't quite get to the boundary. But the kind of acceleration that Mountaineers need at the moment, isn't it?
It's very important because you've got a boundary off the first ball of the over, and it's important that Pelagia keeps this going, tries to find another boundary, or second or a third boundary in this over. That's a very hard hit. And Precious Marange just manages to half stop it. She's hit it hard and straight for another boundary.
And coming onto the strike now is the batter who replaced Lauren Piri. That's Audrey Majishaya. Usually bats down the order, but because she's a bit of a free hitter, I guess the tactic is let's try and have a go here. Having a bit of a sighter. Probably not what the doctor ordered so deep into the innings.
There's 2 overs left after this one. Good one to finish from Precious Marange.
So at the end of the 19th over, the score is 96 for 3. Going to the final over. Yeah, it's good. It's a tough one. 10 runs from here, maybe?
Just got to get over 100, I think. It's just a psychological mark. And we do have Audrey Mazashai. I think is going to be facing the first couple of balls of that over at least. She really want Pelagia Mjaji facing this over. She's been batting longer. So it's 26 balls for 23. If I had Michelle Mavunga brought back into the attack, she's going to bowl the last over from the City end.
Are you surprised she only bowled 2 overs so far? I mean, I'd have thought should have been bowled out. Her economy was 3 after 2 overs.
You can already see that she's going to be looking to bowl falling at the stumps. One just a little leg side off the with Audrey Mazashaya's pads, but that's very, very clear that she's going to be bowling fallen at the stumps.
the final 4 balls of the innings, and the captain is at the is facing bowling at the moment. Pelagia Mjaji on 23 of 20, trying to get over that magical 3 figures. That'll help the scoring.
Definitely, and then the fact that she has to bowl that ball at delivery again. Yeah, you can see a very clear plan to bowl straight and very, very straight and very full. And sometimes it just you can go bowl a little too straight.
Mishama Vunga come and stray just a bit into the pads, and Pelagia Mjaji says, I'll eat that up any day of the week.
And very importantly, Mark crossed 100. The psychological mark we were talking about earlier. Very important to have those runs on the board going into the MASH Eagles innings. The second half of this morning.
The looks as if it's lifted the. It's a very interesting field placement to have at the moment. And after moving the field away from the boundary here at third man, Pelagia Mjaji just guides it and picks up another boundary.
Really, really, really good shot. Very smart shot. Gone one side behind square, and then this time she gives herself room. Ball's going to hit the stumps, but she's backed away just enough to allow her to get it down to the third man boundary.
And that's what happens, because she's playing shots on the on and the off side. It brings a lot of doubt into the bowler's mind, because you're not sure where the weakness is at the moment, isn't it?
That's right, that's right. And then you start to, it was that really, really good shot down to third man, isn't it? And she just does not want to bowl too far outside off stump. You make an error down the leg side.
That one fall into a vacant area. Should pick up 2 runs. I'm going to the final ball of the over. We're about 109. Do you think at the beginning of the innings that have taken that?
I think there was a period when they lost some wickets, where I was looking at a score under 100. But they've done well, the Mountaineers women here. Recovered very, very well, and largely because Pelagia Mjaji has stayed in until the end of this match. I think it'll just be the one to finish this Mountaineers batting effort. So at the end of the 20th overs, Mountaineers are 110 for 3.
Yes, indeed, 110 for 3. On the back of Lauren Perry's 41, Pelagia Mjaji ending her innings with 34 runs of 29 balls. Chipo Mugeni Tirupana opened the batting with 90. This is after Alliance Health Eagles chose to bowl after winning the toss. And looking at the bowling card, Precious Marange took 1 for 30 from her 4 overs, and Kelly Ndlovu 1 for 12 from her 3 overs. So, having had a look at the innings, what's your assessment of it?
It's going to be, I think it should still be Eagles. There's not quite enough runs. Stan and I earlier on were talking about 120 is probably a very, very competitive score. Mountaineers can win this if they just bowl well. And I think the key thing is going to be extras. We saw a few extras from the Eagles bowling. If you can just cut out those extras, that's runs that the Eagles batters actually have to make, and it'll be very, very useful if you can, just as I said, just bowl good line and length, and take those opportunities when they arise. We saw Precious Marange ball drop quite a difficult catch at point, and then there was a missed run out and a missed stumping. So it's just those opportunities are going to be so important to take them. But I think this is evenly balanced.
And also, I think what's important is going to be the bowlers for Mountaineers when they come in. You've got Audrey Majishaya, and she's got quite a bit of spin, and she's quite a wily customer, as well as Chipo Mugere Tiripano herself gets quite a few overs in. So it's going to be down to those particular players to see what they can get out. Nyasha Gwanzer can bowl a bit herself, but the firepower that is in Eagles, in Modesta Mpachikwa, who is a very capable batter, as well as Precious Marange and a couple of others there. And Ketsi Lofu, yeah.
Very good tournament. And it's just like saying it's just one of those that has to bat through for Mash Eagles. And then obviously Mountaineers are going to try and prevent one of those from batting through. So at the end of the
innings, but just look at Mountaineers. So we'll be coming back in a moment. Mountaineers women made 110 for 3-star. Alliance Health Eagles, when they come back, will be chasing 111. The action is at Harare Sports Club. If you are in the area, please do come through to Harare Sports Club and come and catch the action as it happens. It's the final of the Women's T20 Cup. And we just take a quick break, and when we come back, it will be the Alliance Health Eagles innings. As we enter the innings, the Alliance Health Eagles women's replied to Mountaineers women's 110 for 3. I'm joined by Tinashe Chimbambo. Tinashe, your thoughts? And first, how are you doing?
I'm alright, Larry. I've been better. I thought maybe Eagles could have probably restricted Mountaineers to something south of 100 since a slowish wicket. To be a difficult chase, especially with Eagles not entirely
Mountaineers in their innings comes in now, bowling from the golf course end.
very important player. for Mountaineers is Lauren Piri. Starts very well. Starts with a nice delivery, just fourth, fifth stump. Standing in Modesta, Julie respecting that one.
I do quite like Lorraine Piri's run up. She's got a little shimmy. As I was saying during the Mountaineers women's innings, it's not easy to actually hit the ball on this particular surface.
Absolutely, it is on the slow side. As we say, good shot from Modesta Mpachekwa, picks up one in the deep. Good fielding from Nyeshe Kwanzura, always in and around that boundary, marauding that boundary, very active. Yeah, as you were saying, I don't think with the wicket that you can just come in and play your shots. So these two have to try and play themselves in, and once they do, chance in the gap, should pick up a couple.
Well, as I say, if it's going to go aerial, you want it in a gap somewhere. At this stage, with the required rate just under 6, you just want to rotate your strike, which is, I think, at the beginning of the Mountaineers innings, they failed to do effectively, waiting for dots. I've missed out a bit there, Modesta Mpachekwa. But as I say, the pitch is a bit on the slow side. It's a lobing delivery, it's looping, and fails to get under it. You can see the intent if she tried to hit that one.
Yeah, a good option. Goes again, this time, just manages to get the inside half of the bat and
straight to the fielder. So after 2 overs, the score is 8 without. It's a great sunny afternoon here at Harare Sports Club, and it's the final of the Women's T20 Cup. Audrey Majishai going into her second innings, and Alliance Health, second over, I beg your pardon, and Alliance Health Eagles Women's third over. The score being 8 without loss. Earlier on, Mountaineers women made 110 for the loss of 3 wickets. Whoever wins today takes the cup.
interesting. Eagles want to go back to back. Cut away. Should run away for 4. Good shot. Nicely placed. 4 runs to Modesta Mpachekwa.
A very brilliant cut shot right there. You don't see many cut shots in international cricket at the moment anymore. Everybody sort of wants to drive or wants to hit the back or over the top. But that was a brilliant cut shot. A lot of intention in it, and cut the field and made it all its way to the boundary, didn't it?
Yeah, it's a shot that she plays very well, and you can see straight away they headed a fielder in the deep. Again, this time around, it's the bottom edge, and it will trickle away for 4. Very productive also for Eagles, rather. 4 more runs. Audrey, very experienced, but under pressure here, Larry.
He has quite a bit of pressure. Not surprising that Modesta Mpachekwa is able to exploit average balls. Top scorer for Zimbabwe at the T20 Women's Qualifier in Botswana last year. So she is quite capable in this format. And in the 50 over format, to be fair.
Slight change in the field. Fielder who was at short third man goes to the boundary. So there is a fielder in the deep square of the boundary, and then now two more.
This time, the fielder.
Majaji, yes, seems to just have missed the plot here, knowing exactly where Modesta is strong. She had that fielder in the ring and cost them two boundaries.
I don't know. I think it's one thing that I wouldn't go so much so as being too critical of the field placements to see what happens after this ball beats the batter right there. But I wouldn't go so far as to being too critical of the field placements. I think it's the bowling that has let the field placements down rather, because once you have that sort of placement, then you shouldn't really be bowling in a way that opens up the offside. That's an opportunity there, but too short. And at the end of the third over, Alliance South Eagles are 17 without loss.
Nicely played. A little bit of width, and Modesta and Pacheco are very good in that area and nudges it behind point, picks up two. As we say, Larry makes way. I'm welcomed back by Stanley. Hi, Stanley.
Tinashe, for the first time seeing you today, how are you?
I've been better. A couple of issues in the morning. Luckily, I'm here to witness this spectacle that is starting to look like an interesting game. Alliance Eagles just on the run rate. Your thoughts on that Mountaineers innings and them actually scoring 110 but just in 3 wickets? You think they could have done more?
Well, definitely when you have wickets in hand, you always look to push on and get and up the ante, isn't it? However, it all comes down to what personnel you have in your changing room, and one would have thought that a batsperson like a batter like Chipo Mugere, you are expected to bat deeper. She is the stalwart of the team, but unfortunately, you cannot always depend on one individual. So, in this case, losing 3 wickets, lead wickets in hand. And the first wicket for the Mountaineers. Off Lauren Pirish is well known for taking wickets, and it's a fellow national team player in Modesta Mopachikwa, trying to play a lofted drive, trying to clear the 30-yard circle, but unfortunately finding the fielder at mid-on. So Modesta Mopachikwa, the first wicket to fall, and the score is 19 for 1. Who has the highest individual score in the tournament of 91. What a fantastic innings that was. And I'll tell you what, Tinashe, I'm just going back to the conversation we were having earlier before the fall of that wicket. That's a pity that with the start that they had, one would have thought the Mountaineers would have posted more than 110, which is the target now for the Alliance Health Eagles women. However, bronze on the board. They have quite a decent bowling lineup. They have to come and defend it, and they have to do so very well.
One more to go. Played. Should pick up a couple. Very good fielding in the deep. Keeps it to 1. End of the over. After 4 overs, Alliance held the Eagles trotting along 20 for 1.
City end. The introduction of Chipo Mugeri and Pelagia Mujaji, the captain for the Mountaineers women, looking to introduce spin. She knows how spin worked for the Lions Eagles early on when they were batting in their batting effort. So trying to slow things down. Chipo starts off with a brilliant delivery.
Very interesting change. I think it's a good change as well, just trying to slow down the pace with the way that Audrey finished their over 2 boundaries and the way that Eagles operated with spinners in those middle overs. So it'll be quite interesting to see how the Alliance Health Eagles deal with the challenge of Chipo Mugeri. One more to beloved Biza. Brings the new batter on strike, Kellis. She likes to hit the ball. She likes to hit the ball and she can hit the ball to all parts.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, Tinashe, that 91 no fluke, she has very good ability and certainly look to see her rise and hopefully represent the national ladies team at some point. And talking about the national team, you know how the Zimbabwe Cricket Board recently sat down and announced Gary Brent, former Zimbabwe international, as the new head coach for the women's team. He's here, and I think this tournament had fantastic in terms of introducing him to the women's game. He knows what he has to work with, and in line with that, I know they're supposed to travel to Namibia not too far from now. So a good introduction for Gary. And obviously as well, the other coaches who are to work with the ladies team.
Yes, absolutely. I think the timing was perfect in terms of him having something to look and he can probably contribute in picking the squad. And obviously we have to deal with whatever the selectors give him. But ultimately he will have a chance to see the players that he gets playing playing competitive cricket. I think, like you say, it has been fantastic. We have witnessed some really good cricket over the past week. Good bowling, very good bowling.
Not trying too much as Chipo Mugeri, just looking to land it. I tell you what, she's tossing it. It looks like she's getting some bounce. And that's the end of the 5th over. The Alliance Health Eagles women in their chase are currently 22 for 1. And unfortunately for Lorraine, she starts off with a full banger. And it is taken to the cleaners by by Kelis.
Good shot. Was there to be hit. And the presence of mind of just knowing that the fielder is behind square there, is in the ring, just lost it over. It's a boundary. First ball of the over. But just to come back to your question, I think it's a good block, especially when the batters are still trying to get their eye in, get a couple of overs in quickly. Before you know it, the power play is finished. A couple of overs are gone already.
Talk about that. Tinashe, we have the 6th over already, which is the last over of the power play. And Lorraine, who is also a national team campaigner, she will be disappointed with her start. And this one again, just straying down to the leg side, and Kelis obliging just a flick for 2 runs on to the leg side.
Good running, very good awareness. She sees that there is a fumble and a bit of miscommunication between the two fielders, and she capitalizes, comes back for 2. I think that's going to be very important, running between the wickets, as we said earlier on, that the wicket isn't really allowing stroke play. And ultimately, you're going to need to turn those 1s into 2s.
A key component nowadays of the T20 format, running between the wickets. Tell you what, it's not just about boundaries, but to keep the scoreboard ticking, those 1s and 2s are equally important. And especially in the power play, I know it's hard, the field is quite close, but every now and then if you can nudge a 1 or 2 and get that all-important boundary is always key, especially on wickets that are this slow. Good delivery, nearly yorked herself there, Kelis. But she responded by digging up very well.
Yeah, nicely bowled. Seemed to in the air as well. And Kelis, just at the very last minute, managing to put her bat down.
Beaten. Fantastic delivery to end the 6th over, and being the last over of the power play. The Alliance Health Eagles women are 28 for 1. To the second power play now, and the field not as spread as we would want it to be. Obviously she's trying to be as defensive as possible. It's just the 2 fields in the deep on the leg side, deep square leg, corner, but there hasn't been much power hitting so far, so she can afford to have all members of the field set, and the covers up, a slog sweep, more for pull rather, but it is in no man's area. Lots of work for the Eagles. Yeah, I mean 110 is not much, Tinashe, so they have to be on point when it comes to their bowling and their plans.
Absolutely, and I think they've been spot on up to this stage. The way they are keeping the field up for a beloved who hasn't been really doing well, striking at 50% right now. So I think it's important. Also keeps her on strike. It's making sure that the senior member in Kelis, who has managed to find the boundary once, stays off strike. And earlier on, we were speaking about ways in which Mountaineers can restrict the Alliance Health Eagles. I think that's one of them. Just making sure that the batter who can strike better stays off strike.
LBW shout by the umpire, Foster Mutizwa, just showing Chipumagiri that ball pushed outside the line of leg stump. Chipumagiri, I'm surprised that she's tossing the ball a lot, considering that she would have seen how the Alliance Eagles and bowlers operated, bar Precious Marange, but how the 2 spinners in Chare and Olinda were perfect.
Yes, but something that I've noticed is the fact that she actually gets a lot of bounce. She does toss it up, but she's been getting good bounce, which hasn't made it easy for the Alliance Eagles players to either go over the top or take the strike. Currently going at 2.1 to the over. So she's done very well.
Yeah, importantly, has been a length, isn't it? Though she's tossed it, it hasn't been too full, which means the batters can't go underneath it and hit straight, but are forced to play square of the wicket because of the bounce. Defensive effort from beloved Biza to end the 7th over. Alliance Health Eagle 30 for 1 in this T20 final. From the golf course end, Nyasha Gwanzura takes over. Matamanazo. Darlington, as we continue with this match, your thoughts?
Oh, it's just realizing it's 81 to win. Just a little more than 13. You see no ball and free hit just being signaled. Just Nyasha Gwanzura overstepped the first ball that she's bowled.
Ooh, missed out there from Achilles. She strikes it big, but that one was tossed. It was wide, but she was not ready to take it. But luckily, unfortunately for Nyasha Gwanzura, she gets away with a free hit here. You know, when you're chasing totals like this, those are the sort of deliveries you really want to put away, isn't it?
You just don't want to let your opponents actually get settled in. You need to make sure that you get ahead of the required run rate and you stay there.
And in terms of giving away extras, Nyasha Gwanzura a bit guilty. Had a no ball given, and now it's a wide. So 2 extras already, with no effort from the batter. And that is the sort of approach you do not need early on in the over. This over already has 4 runs into it, 3 runs into it, and only 1 has come off the bat. So just releasing pressure is Nyasha Gwanzura. She has to tighten up. Still has 3 more deliveries in this case.
Now, what I'm finding interesting here, we already see Eagles requiring 78 from 76. They're not going to run a ball. So this match is actually beautifully positioned for Mountaineers women. You could just keep that run rate climbing so it gets up to 7, 8, and then even into 9 or 10. It could be very easily go their way. It's so important in finals often to just have those runs on the board.
Shots of catch, but a swept. The deep square region, but the fielder there will only watch it bounce once and over the rope for 4 runs. And we spoke about the pressure on Nyasha Gwanzura already. And this over from Nyasha Gwanzura, 8 runs with 2 more deliveries, and how important that boundary is with regards to what Darlington was speaking about, with regards to try and getting this run rate to further go up. It was at 6, but one moment that boundary has come down to under 6. So the importance of boundaries and trying to keeping it tight for Gwanzura. It's the last ball of the over. It's a full toss. It's wide, and unfortunately she will have to bowl that again. And to put salt onto injury, they managed to sneak in another run.
And ironically, you can see it's just the idea that they know Kelisendorf was going to play shots. And you can just see that almost nervousness You don't really want to put it into anything that looks like her slots, so she can hit it. She hits quite a long way. So you just try to end up bowling right into their pads or a little bit wider than you really want to.
Last ball of the over. Audrey must shine the deep. No! The turn. She's made a mill of it. And would you believe it? It's the last ball of the over and a boundary. It's the end of the 8th. Alliance Health Eagles steadily chasing this target down. 44 for 1. Which was the first of Nyasha Gonzura. Very expensive Darlington. 14 runs off that.
It's a very important over for Lions Health Eagles. It's really started to taken away some of that pressure that Mountaineers had started to build.
It only takes that one moment. Does it certainly be hurting? 14 runs in her first over. The captain, Pelagia Mjaji, now has a bit of work to think about. I mean, does she bring Pelagia, does she bring Nyasha Gonzura back for another over? Or does she have to make another bowling change, which is not what you want? You really want bowlers to be bowling in tandem, in partnerships. And with the good work that Chipo is doing on the city end, the question is who can come and support her from at the golf course end.
Absolutely right. Just got to make sure that you bowl in pairs as much as you've got to bat in pairs.
The Alliance of the Eagles women need 65 off 69 runs, 9 wickets in hand. Off drive by Kelly's, but there is a fielder off. They do know her strengths, the Mountaineers do. And that current run rate of just over 5, and a required run rate of 5.65 looks like the Alliance Health Eagles women steadily keeping it, and it's all thanks to that over by Nyasha Gonzura, which went for 14. Chipo Mugeri doing well to avoid boundaries. That bounce that she gets definitely helping, and that it's forcing the Alliance Health women to play square off the wicket into her field set. So just 4 runs off this over into the last ball. Can she finish it off? Hopefully with a dot to create some more pressure. Sweep shot. The fielder coming around. She does well, and it saves what could have been a boundary. Instead, just keeps it down to 2. Alliance Health Eagles women steadily progressing towards that 110 mark, and after the 9th, it's 4-1. To the attack, and obviously the captain Pelagia Mujaji immediately bringing in a new bowler from the golf course end in the left arm seam, obviously trying to make sure that her bowlers are bowling in partnerships, and she starts off well with the ball. Driven straight to the field at mid-off. Direct hit. Would have been interesting, but it overthrows. Nobody backing up on the leg side. And it sticks to just the 1 run.
I think that's a good length from Patricia Mtembo. Once. She's got to stay around about there. We've seen how difficult it is to actually hit down this ground. I think you can get away with it. It's slightly fuller length. This might be a very, very good bowling change from Captain Pelagia Mjaji.
Talking about the extras, Darlington, earlier on, you mentioned how the Mountaineers women need to make sure they keep in check these extras. If they are to make a good game out of this, they need to make sure that all the runs that the Alliance Health Eagles women are going to score are pretty much off the bat. They don't want to give them too easy runs. And there's just been too many extras so far in this inning so far. Better. Keeping it simple, just bowling it full and straight. And I think that's where Patricia Mtembo needs to be more often than not. Okay, listen over at the moment. She hasn't started dealing in boundaries. We know she can. She just has 2 so far at a strike rate of 85 for 17 runs off 20 balls. Toss delivery. It's pulled to the deep. There's a deep square in place. And that will just limit the damage to the 1. So Kelly Snow not finding the fluency we know her to normally get. I think that would have been a big boundary. But today, just settling for 1. Perhaps just sensing there's no need to try and take things on too early.
I think I totally agree. Just another more than 58 required. From 60 balls should be a dawdle. 9 wickets in hand. Should be mash Eagles, but you know that every time if you lose 1 wicket here, always add 2 wickets to this to here. If you find yourself sort of 60 for 3, could be a bit of difficulties. So it's very important that one of these 2 legs to actually bat through this innings. It's the easiest way to win this game.
Could that be a no ball? And yes, the umpire signals a no ball. However, there's runs to be taken, and unfortunately for Patricia Mtembo, that would have been the last ball of the first over, and she has to ball that one again, unfortunately. The captain for the Mountaineers, Pelagia Mjaji, needs to find a way to cut down these extras, and they're certainly impeding, in fact hurting the efforts of the Mountaineers women in trying to curtail this run charge by the Alliance Health Eagle women. It's the free hit. It's a misfield at mid-wicket. Good running by the Alliance Health. It's the end of the break, and it's 58 for 1.
Similar stage. Mountaineers were 48 for 3. It's a nice little shot from Kelly's Novo. She's looked really, really good. Hasn't looked quite as dominant as she did in the 91, top scorer in the tournament. But I think it's a very different game today. She's just got to finish back to the end of this game.
Yes, Darlington, she's got to play the surface. Don't worry about how you play the surface. And you had a couple of the batters from the Mountaineers side who did that in the innings, but just not enough. Because again, a couple of the other batters tried to preempt some of their shots. Just play the surface. The target is not that huge.
Looks like a drop catch.
A caught and bowled opportunity. A difficult chance, but a chance all the same. She'll feel she should have collected that. So, Alliance Health Eagles women are the defending champions of the Women's T20 Cup. They've also won the Women's 50-50 Challenge. You sometimes get tempted to call it the Pro 50, that's the men's tournament. And to win this match, Mountaineers women have to do something they've never win this title. They've never done before. That is to beat the Alliance Health Eagles in this format. Twice they played this season. They lost both matches. In the first edition of the Women's T20 Cup, there was no result in the one, Radov. And the second, the other match of the season, they lost. So, in essence, Alliance Health Eagles women are the favourites here. Might be a boogie team. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's always very, very difficult the first time you beat any team, because you've got to beat them sort of mentally, at home as it were, before you beat them out there, and in the way you prepare. And so if you haven't prepared to beat Alliance Health Eagles, and then Alliance Health Eagles expect to beat you, probably are going to win this one.
Just swing and a miss there. And Chipo Mogeri to the partner bowls herself out for overs. She conceded 13 runs, didn't take a wicket, but she was satisfied with the bowling. So at the end of that over, of the 11th over, 61 for the loss of 1 wicket.
Back. It's been a bit of a struggle with her bowling changes, has Balaji Amjaji. It's just a little a period where Mountaineers women have let Alliance Health Eagles back into this game.
And those loose deliveries of that take pressure off. Gwanzura. Perhaps the ball slipping out of her hand, be the case, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's just a loose delivery.
Chipum getting to the panel goes and has a bit of a word with that.
And that's a cracking drive square to the wicket from Kelly Slovo. She started to really take hold of this match.
And what I'll say is another aspect of cricket that we don't talk about is the umpires, because Standing today are two former players who have played domestic cricket, Fostam Mutizwa and Sarah Nevana, who also played domestic cricket when she played for Rhinos. So it's great to see former players finding a different avenue. You always see them in punditry, like yourself, and coaching. But two umpires standing in the middle there. Sarah Nevana became the first woman to stand in a domestic final during the 50-50 challenge, which Eagles won. So Eagles might see her as a bit of good luck, no?
Perhaps, probably. And you know what it is the interesting thing for me with when they do a good job, unfortunately you don't notice them. Have you noticed umpires when they make really, really bad mistakes? And I think that's the key thing, that both Foster and Sarah have not actually made any really bad umpiring decisions throughout this tournament, and particularly today, which is a very, very good sign, I think.
A good delivery there by Nyasha Gwanzura, and put to dig that one out, just prevented from hitting your stumps.
A little bit of energy from Nyasha Gwanzura to end the 12th over. Forgive me, just one more delivery in the 12th over. And a good one to finish. So at the end of 12, Alliance Health Eagles are 70 for 1.
Getting to the 13th over. Just a reminder, earlier on, Mountaineers made 110 for the loss of 3 wickets.
Bowling change from City. Andrietta Matema.
Well, when you go for a championship, you need a bit of luck. A couple of aerial balls, and all for the vacant areas. Just a few inches either way, could be in trouble.
Absolutely. When it's your year, it's your season, isn't it? Looks like probably Alliance Health Eagles going to pick up another trophy here.
With Trevor Gare having been appointed under-19 coach, playing against his assistant in the format, Siniram Pofu. And as I say that, I'm not sure. I'm hoping I haven't put the commentator's cursor there. And as that happens, she bowls wide. But what she's done at this point is not try to be too clever, not too many things. bowl to your field, and if it goes for a 4 because it goes through the field, is fair enough. But as long as you bowl to your field, you give yourself a chance, don't you?
That's right. She's just being good about just making sure it's hitting an off stump or just outside. She's got 5 fielders on the offside, 4 on the leg. That's been very, very good. It's not a bad ball to finish up. A little slow ball that was straight at the stumps.
And there's 5 off that over. And after 13 overs, Alliance Health Eagles are 75 for the loss of 1 wicket.
So are you
Good afternoon, Tinashe.
Understand?
I suppose we are heading towards the business end of this innings. 13 overs gone so far. 65 for 1. The Eagles are an outside edge, and if that goes for 4, that'll take it to 79 for 1. So you got streaky runs, but the Eagles will take them as they come. Patricia Temu continuing from this golf course end, left arm seamer. Pelagia Mujaji, the captain for the Mountaineers, still finding it hard to get a bowler that can stem the flow of runs. It hasn't been easy for them, and it looks like batting second on this wicket. And obviously, the Eagles women, having won the toss early on and decided to bowl first, it's worked out well for them, isn't it?
Absolutely, and it looks like it will add a couple of silverware into their locker room, but I think they've been absolutely brilliant in the way they've conducted themselves in this run chase. Shout for an OPW. Sarah Damanevana not interested. Seems to be probably going over the stumps.
Right, 32 runs, rather 31 runs required off 40 balls with 9 wickets still in hand. A brilliant current run rate of 6 with a required of just above 4.5. You would think the Alliance Eagles are on course to take this by 9 wickets. But you never know. With T20 cricket, anything can happen. A wicket or 2 here can swing things in their favour as well, the Mountaineers. And importantly, try and take this game as deep as possible. In many a team meeting, you would have sat Tinashe Shimbambo in your first class setup with the Mountaineers men. And I'm sure the coaches will have preached the never die attitude and take it all the way until the last ball.
Absolutely, and I think ever since Chipo Mugeri finished her allocation of 4 overs, like you said, the struggle has been for Mujaji to find someone who can bowl to the field set and at least keep the Alliance Health Eagles to something under 6 runs and over, and take this game as deep as possible and probably allow the Nels to come in right at the death there. But as Henrietta is also struggling to find a line, she bowls another wide, which has been the story of the day for Mountaineers women. I think they haven't really sustained the pressure.
Yeah, there's just been too many extras in this inning so far for the Mountaineers women. Hasn't been easy for them. You can see the lack of quality bowling in their attack. Change in action, but that doesn't help. It's still another wide.
You can start hearing the excitement from the Eagles dugout. They can sense that this could be theirs for the taking, and the struggles from Jaji are quite evident in the way that all the change bowlers have conducted themselves. They've struggled to stick to one sort of line.
Patricia Mate once again straying in line. That one, fortunate enough just to hit the pad of Kelly. Otherwise, it missed the Polywood one. Would have been possibly another leg side wide. Not too sure about this angle of attack from Precious. I mean, to get that ball to go across is lots of hard work. You know, Kelly's Precious Mutema bowling to a left-hand batter, and she's bowling left arm seam. Try and get it to go across is hard work. Be that as it may, Kelly's won't mind which way it comes. She's still on her merry way. Not the Kelly's novel that we've come to see in this tournament. It's the 110 target that Eagles women are, as such that she's playing somewhat of a subdued innings, but effective still, all the same.
Absolutely, and I think she's passed it to perfection. Just striking over 100, managing to just knock the ball to the gap, pick up singles as she does. I think a very important part of her innings today has been the running between the wickets, the way that she has managed to sneak in twos where you'd have thought it could have been easy ones, and the pressure that she has exerted back to the Mountaineers women has been telling. You know, she's only managed to score 3 boundaries, but she's still managing to strike over 100.
I'll tell you what, with regards to T20 plans, you always want that one batter who bats through the innings. And I think that's what Kelly's doing. Kelly's Love is doing so well so far. 34 runs off 2. She is certainly looking to bat through, which is fantastic. And I'll tell you, somebody else who will really be pleased will be Gary Brent. This is young talent, Kelly's Love is. So a brand new find, a good find for that matter, for the national selectors.
Absolutely, and beloved Bizarre has done very well actually in a supporting role. Slowly going along, 27 of 39 deliveries. After 14 overs, Alliance Eagles on their merry way, 86.
Do the bowling. Now, out of interest, can Henrietta dismiss Kellis Ndlovu, because Kellis Ndlovu is on equal terms with Chipo Mugere on 181 runs for the tournament. But however, Kellis Ndlovu has other thoughts. Will it go all the way to the boundary? No. Some brilliant fielding from Audrey Mazushaya. And that takes Kellis Ndlovu to the summit of the highest on the table. Brilliant. Well done to her, Kellis.
Very well batted, very well done. And with regards to this match, the way that she has played this innings, and again, the running between the wickets, she picks up 3. Absolutely brilliant. And what has been quite telling in the way that she has conducted herself here is this has been out of character. She had to dig deep. And we spoke about how important it was for one in that top 3 to go through and bat all the way, and she is a player that can change gears as well, which is an added advantage for Eagles. I'm absolutely pleased for her.
Oh, she has been sublime, hasn't she? And it's only befitting that she be playing in this final. And with more cricket to come over the weekend, we're seeing the two franchises, the Mountaineers and Alliance Health Eagles, pairing up and facing up in the men's final over the weekend. Tinashe, you're going to be there?
Testy encounter, that one. Yes, we'll be there.
Why wouldn't you be? You'll be supporting Mountaineers yourself, wouldn't you?
Of course, if I don't get picked.
Yeah, what a final, what people looking forward to. So if you're free on Saturday, be sure to be at Harare Sports Club. It's the home of Premier Cricket Entertainment right here in the capital. And it's all happening. The men's final, Mountaineers pitting the Alliance Health Eagles. I'll tell you what, it'll be a good one for the Alliance Eagles because it's the first final of the season that they'll be involved in. But in the end of the 15th over, the Alliance Health Eagles women on 89 for 1. Being given the task of trying to stem the flow of runs, the Alliance Health Eagles women need 22 off 30 balls. And importantly, 9 wickets in hand. Well, I'll tell you, the star of the show, Kelly's Ndlovu, on 37 runs off 34 balls. She's still on the merry way. The top run getter for the tournament. And I'll tell you what, she has been brilliant at this tournament.
Good fielding. Chipomugate Ripano at Cow Corner, just managing to get across and keep that to 1. Kellis moves on to 38. Beloved Biza, 27 of 43 deliveries, just the 3 boundaries in the inning. Lorraine Perry, if there is any glimmer of hope for Mountaineers here, she needs to strike. I think that's one thing that the Mountaineers could have done better. That new ball wasn't entirely as effective as it should have been. Audrey Mazishaya, the other bowler, with lots of experience, but not particularly on the ball today.
It always gets difficult, isn't it, Nashi? Especially when you don't take in wickets in the power play, like you say. Today, it's been a similarity. Both innings, both teams struggled to get wickets. Although one thing that the Eagles did well is they were sublime in making sure that they were miserly with the runs, which unfortunately has not been so for the Mountaineers women. They've struggled to get those bowling partnerships in. They've struggled to get the dot balls. Every now and then, the bad fielding. So it's not been a good all-round game for them, has it?
No, it hasn't. And the bowling as well. Chance just evades the fielder at 45. Kellis picks up 1, looks for 2, turns away. But you're absolutely spot on, Stanley. I think what has been the difference in this whole tournament and the way that Eagles have gone about their business has been the fielding. I think they've been brilliant in the way that they've managed to stop runs and restrict sides to at times ridiculous targets, and that has really aided themselves with the way that they had to go out and chase those totals. For example, today, with just 3 wickets down, Mountaineers would have thought they would have pushed on, but their fielding effort and their bowling effort actually would have won themselves this game.
Audrey Masashai does the cleaning up. Just a non-driver from a beloved Biza, who's played a fantastic and a supporting role. Just 29 runs off 45 balls, a strike rate of 64. She's done very well. It's not a big target, but she's more than happy to give the strike to one, Kelly Ndlovu. striking at 108 at the moment. And Kelis obliges by giving back the strike. The strike rotation has been good between these two.
Absolutely. The way that they've hit the sweepers, nice hard shots down the ground, which is something that you'd love to see, you know. And the way that they've also managed to steal singles straight to fielders in the ring has made it very difficult for the bowlers who, on this on a particular day like this, have not really helped themselves.
At the end of the 16th over, the Lions Health women slowly creeping up to that 110 mark on 94 for the loss of 1 wicket. "17 more runs." Can really seeing from where we are a happy Eagles management. And I know for one, Wanda Chisango, the general manager of the Mashonaland Eagles franchise, the Alliance Health Eagles franchise rather, will be a happy man. He's got both these teams involved in the finals. And Mr. Terry Nyakurima, the general manager for Mountaineers. So it's the battle of the two franchises in this domestic season in terms of the shorter format is concerned. And what a stellar tournament it has been, characterized by the women's game morning, and the afternoon we had the men's game. So later on this afternoon it'll be a playoff of number 3 and 4. The coolest tournaments, the Southern Rocks taking on the Midwest Rhinos.
Funny you say the coolest team in the domestic scene, not in the final.
You always have to give others a chance. I mean, you got to spread the resources wide. You know, Tinashe, we always can't be responsible for taking everything. But Chelly's not happy with herself there. It was a full delivery, but she's bantered it straight back to the bowler, Henrietta Matema.
Yeah, just a little bit of loss of concentration. And she's tried to hit it a little bit too hard, and in the process, losing a shape and not managing to put that away. 3 dot balls from Henrietta so far. Full toss, heaved away, should run away. Nicely fielded. Just the 1 run. Clear annoyance from the Alliance Health Eagles. Dug out. Teammates seem to think there was an easy 2 there.
Well, you know, when you're keeping closer and closer to a total, the quicker you get there, the better. So obviously I can sense the happiness in that changing room. The Eagles are, I mean, they played yesterday, these two teams. Different Mountaineers team yesterday compared to today. And yesterday 110, they put up somewhat of a fight. But unfortunately, with drives like that, but brilliant fielding at the end of the day, to make sure that they leave to see another day, the Mountaineers, that would have been a boundary. That would have taken them to 100. But brilliant fielding from Audrey Mazishaya.
Nicely fielded. Brilliant shot as well from beloved Biza. I think she's grown into her innings today. Nyasha Bonzura doing the fielding there. But you can sense the nerves creeping into both these teams. They know that we are getting close to the business end of this game. 14 runs required of 19 balls. And Stanley, funnier things have happened in this game. I don't think it's over yet for the Mountaineers.
Well, you can never say never until the last ball is bowled. But crack of a shot, there's Nyashe, good fielder, but unfortunately it just evades her. And Kelis releasing one big shot we haven't seen too often today, but clears the fielder at long on for a much needed boundary.
Clear chance, Stanley. Clear chance, and to a fielder who is well known for her exploits in the field, a missed opportunity there for Mountaineers women. That was their way into this game. After 17 overs, 101 for 1.
Of course, end. It's been a little bit expensive. Just the 2 overs for 14 runs.
The story of the match is this: the two teenagers out in the middle. Beloved Visa, only 13 years old, and she's playing cricket since she was a kid. She's still a kid. And Kellis Lovo, 16-year-old, 16, 17, something around that range. She's on 45 or 42 overs, cool customers. And that's what you want in a team, isn't it? Just get in there, do a job.
Exactly right. She's looked good. Both of them have looked good doing it. Particularly Kelly Ndlovu has really dominated this innings, this run chase. And unfortunately, beloved Biza just out for 30. He's played well. And the Alliance Eagles women now 101 for 1.
And that's after some really mature batting for somebody who's 13 years old in 85 days, we've been told. I wonder what you were doing at 13 and 85.
I hadn't decided if I wanted to play cricket. I was playing cricket, but I hadn't really, decided that I was going to play cricket as my sport. I was a half decent hockey player, so for me at the time it was going to be either cricket or hockey. It turned out to be cricket in the end. But yeah, and then also when I was 13 we didn't have opportunities of this sort of nature.
It's good for development that this has happened. And for me, what the big story here is the fact that girls are playing that much cricket. And so it gives confidence for young players like these two teenagers who put on an 82-run partnership. That's close, and that is out. And that is out. A direct hit that always gives you a chance. And Precious Barange is given out. As soon as she came in, she was going out.
And we might have a little bit of surprise at the end of this game here today. Really good bit of fielding from Audrey Mazwishaya.
Brilliant fielding indeed.
Turned on the turn and hit the stumps. Precious Marange is gone without scoring. Just 10 runs to win for the Alliance Health Eagles women.
And coming in now to bat is Misha Mavunga. Not fall into the same fate as Kellis Ndlovu. Pushes it down into a safe space. Picks up the 1 run. And this is the part where I think if you're Mountaineers women, if you had 10 more overs, 10 more runs rather, to play with, you think you have a chance here, don't you?
Oh, most definitely, because like another 20 runs, just 3 overs to go, another wicket here, and suddenly Eagles could be in a real amount of trouble. I think talking with Stan at the beginning of this game, we were thinking around 125, 120, 125. It's probably a winning score for a side batting first. And Mountaineers are probably 15 runs short of that.
I mean, that's a nice shot right there. Great shot. I just like the patience. It just looks as if, because Misha Mavunga, she's just grown into T20 cricket this season. And from watching her batting, I've seen the same thing with Kelly Slover. They always seem like they've got just that little bit more time to make a shot. And they play the shot quite late. So it is something that I find fascinating about their development as batters. There you go, once again, patiently wait for the ball to land, to do something. Isn't much urgency trying to hit it out of the park, whatever. Play the ball on its merit.
That's absolutely true. And there's not really much pressure from here. You just got to stay nice and patient and keep and run well. 10 from 2 is, so 6 from 2 is not very many. Well, swing to end the over as Alliance Health Eagles are 105 for 3 after 18.
T20 Cup for this season. Andrietta Matema coming in to bowl her final over, and facing is Misha Mavunga. She going to make this a long one, or is she just going to be done with it? And close to done with it she is. She's going to stop it. Yes. Limits it to 2 runs. And now the Alliance Health Eagles women about to to make a leap off the silverware this season. In the season in which they performed very well. Very packed offside, and as far as the setup. And the packed offside, another aerial ball, but into the vacant space, so 2 runs, and Alliance Health Eagles are 2 runs away from becoming the 2022, or rather 2021-2022 Women's T20 Cup champions. And the scores are level now. Barring something miraculous, we're not getting a super over, are we?
It's really, really unlikely. And we also see that Kelly Lovu is 4 runs short of 50.
And she's the one. She's the one facing. Yes,
And
she's the one.
she's on strike, so my little wish would be that she gets a 50 in this. She's played really, really well. Bowled well during the Mountaineers innings, and then has batted really, really well. And that's the wide that takes the game.
And there you have it. Alliance Health Eagles women have been crowned the Women's T20 Cup champions. Underwhelming end at the end of it, of a wide, but Kelly Slova's unbeaten 46 of 44, leading her side to becoming champions, defending champions, having won it in 2020, in the 2020-21 season. And in the second season of the Women's T20 Cup, they've made it their own. They take it home again after beating Mountaineers women by 7 wickets. Kelly Dover with 46 of 44, and then Beloved Biza also making 30 of 48. And just looking at the bowling card quickly, 1 for 17 from Lauren Pierre from her 4 overs, and Audrey Majishaya with 1 for 18 from her 3 overs. And as we prepare for the afternoon match, or as we round out this match and then look forward, round out this match really, what are your final thoughts on this?
There's been a very, very good display of cricket throughout this from both the Eagles and the Mountaineers. Both of them were a little bit better than the rest of the sides in this tournament, and it's fitting that they were in this final. And Mashonaland Eagles actually found the best brand of cricket to win this game. I think they were deserving winners. Bowled really, really well in the morning as a unit, fielded well. There were some drop catches, and then to win by 7 wickets is a very, very good win.
And just to round off, the Women's T20 Cup has been decided, but the men's domestic T20 final will be at Harare Sports Club at kicking off at 13:30 hours on. It's going to be on Saturday. Yes, Saturday, the 2nd of April at Harare Sports Club. Admission is free, and if you want to come and watch the match, you can come in. Just make sure you got your medical, or rather your vaccination card. And there is a match still at Harare Sports Club that will be streaming on the Zimbabwe cricket YouTube page between Rocks and Rhinos happening this afternoon. And also the match also between is available on the Zimbabwe Cricket app. If you want to follow the scores, you can download the Zimbabwe Cricket app on the iStore as well as Google Play Store. But what leaves for us to say is thank you very much for joining us in this particular match. And there's another hearty congratulations to Eagles, Alliance Health Eagles, who have been crowned the Women's T20 Cup champions.